What's going on, guys? It's been 3 weeks. We just got our parts, and today we're going to be building our watch. I was looking at our comments from our last video. Thank you guys for the awesome feedback. I really appreciate it. And you're watching part 2 of the watch build. There's going to be 3 parts to it. So this is part 2, and we're going to be building the watch. So stay tuned. Hi everybody, we're back. After 3 weeks of waiting, we've received all of our parts here. We have our movement, our watch case, we have our plastic tweezers, we have our lubrication right here for our O-rings. We have a few punches actually. There's some tools that I didn't show you guys on the first video here. We have a tiny mini screwdriver here. And with the case, there's multiple screws that we have to unscrew to remove the case back. We have our watch straps here. We have our finger condoms right there. And over here, we have our minute, second, and hour hand right here. Sorry, it's just not in the box right now. It's loosely right here, being really careful. We have our watch stem with our crown right there. And we also have our bezel right there. Everything is loose. I'm sorry. There just wasn't too much space to fit everything, so I had to loosely put everything on here. And we also have our spacer right there. And if you can tell, we have some side cutters right here for our stem. So we need to resize the stem every time. And can't forget, we got our air puffer right there. All right, so let's get into this watchmaking. So first, what we need to do is put on our finger condoms. So as you can see, I already have mine on right here, but they're really easy to put on. Condoms right here, tiny little condoms. They look like real condoms, but they're for your fingies.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So they come out like this. That. And you get your finger right there. And you just gotta slowly put it on there. You don't have to put it all the way. You can if you want to. I just put them on little halfways there, but you don't have to put them on half all the way. Anyway, we got them on. Got all our finger condoms on for the dust and debris that could get into the movement. So this is important. I'm sorry I say important a lot because pretty much everything that you see here is important, and also what I'm putting on is important as well. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we get our movement, and unfortunately, sorry, I removed the crown already that was existing on this movement. It's a little stem with a blue little finger dial on it. Sorry, I don't know the name. I removed it. I'll show you guys how to remove the stem in just a moment. But this is the movement right here. Really nice skeleton movement that we're going to be making. So first, we're going to get our case here. Sorry, there's a lot going on here. I have my magnifying glass that I'm personally using for this install. I have my microphone that's on an arm. I have this camera right here that's on another arm. I have my DSLR camera. I have my DJI camera. There's a lot going on here, so bear with me. This is my first time building a watch while filming. I'm trying to get as much content as possible so everyone can see what's happening right now, what I'm doing, and how I'm doing it, as well as getting really good audio quality for y'all. And hopefully I don't mess up, because this is kind of strange. I can barely even see my table because there's so much going on right now. But all right, we'll give it a shot. Okay, so we have our watch case here, our movement. We don't need the movement just yet, so we're gonna move this aside. We're gonna deal with the case right now. So in the case, there is a little ring that we need to remove. So it's on this right here. So there's a little tiny plastic O-ring almost right there that we have to remove. Remove that. And what we're going to do with this little O-ring, sorry if I hit the microphone a lot, everything's in the way. We're going to put this in our lubricant here, just for the meantime. We're going to close the cap here. And what you want to do when you put it into this case here You're going to close it and then spin it around just a little bit just to get all the lubricant on the O-ring. And we're just going to leave this aside just for now until we need to assemble everything back, and then we're going to install the O-ring back on. Okay, so now we have our case and our case back here all ready to go. So we're just going to move this aside. And now we're going to deal with the actual movement. So this is the fun part here. Okay, so with this movement, it will come with this gray ring. So this gray ring, you're going to need to install it yourself. It's very easy. There's two little pins that connect onto the actual movement. Sorry, I'm not going to show you. I don't really need to show you it. It's really simple. It goes onto the top of the movement, not on the bottom. There's only one way it can go. So we're going to move this here. So you can see the bottom here, there's no lip on the edge of the movement where I install this gray little ring. And on the top, there is a lip. The lip covers the top of the movement, so you need to install it on the top. There are two little pins here and here that you need to line up with the movement and just install. So that's very simple. So now we're gonna move to these pieces here. So this is the little bezel here we're gonna need to install. So when you purchase bezels like this, when you flip it around, there are these pins. Mine came with, I believe, 4 pins on here, and this movement right here only requires 2 out of the 4 pins. So this is where the side cutters come into play. And what I learned how to do it was I got the movement and I saw the little holes where they go into. So right here and right here on one side. And I put this kind of on its side right here and see where the pins line up and which pins I do not need. So the pins that you do not need would be this one and this one, this one and this one right here. And you clip them with the side cutters, and the excess that's remaining on here, you have to get a little bit of sandpaper, very, very small sandpaper, and just sand off the rest of the pin that you cut. So now that we have a nice bezel that we would like, sorry if this is not what it's called, I believe it's called a bezel. You get the movement. And you'll see where your crown goes first, and that's how you'll know which way's up. So right here, this is where the stem comes out of, this hole right here. It's a little gap right here. You can tell there's multiple gaps around the movement, but right here, that's a wider gap. That is where your stem goes into. You don't need to put that in yet, but now we know the stem is right here, so we have to make sure this is on the right side. Okay, so now we got our little bezel here. We got the 12 mark. Then we install this. Line the pins up. And you want to slowly, gently push this together. Make sure they're lined up nice. Okay, so now bezel is lined up really nice on our movement. And make sure this is really straight. Awesome. Okay. So now what we're going to do is modify our stem. So on our case, we get a crown right here. This crown is actually quite nice. Hopefully that zooms in nice for you. Okay, so this crown is really nice. I installed this first because this takes a little bit of time to do, a lot of patience. I highly recommend you get extra stems just in case you miscut the stem. So when you receive your movement, it will come with just one extra stem. Now, you have a risk here of cutting it way too short. so you won't be able to change the time or even install the stem onto the movement, which is a big problem. So you're going to need to either cut this perfect the first time, which is difficult. My first time, I cut it exactly right, or just get extra stems just in case. I highly recommend you buy extra stems when you purchase all your parts for the first time. I would highly recommend you get like 30 or 40 stems just in case if you want to make more watches in the future and you mess up, you have extra stems right here instead of having to wait 3 weeks just for this part. I ended up having to purchase more stems on my last watch build, so I highly recommend you get stems right away just in case. You literally only have one chance to get this right. So when you trim these stems, I highly recommend you undercut them just a little bit. So if you know what size you like for the stem, I would cut it just have a little extra room, a little extra space on your stem, and slowly trim down. I don't recommend you measure it and then trim exactly where the measurement says. I recommend that you trim it just a little bit too long so you can test it and fit and see if it's too long and perfect, that you just cut it a little bit shorter. And if it's too short, then you're gonna have to change stems and try it over again. Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't show you guys how to cut the stem. It is a little bit difficult for me right now how to cut the stem on camera. It's kind of difficult right now. I'm still trying to make sure my setup is perfect for you guys. But for right now, I pre-cut the stem just so we can carry on with the video. So we get our movement here, and we see where the hole is. Big hole right there. We insert our stem into that hole. Flip it around here. We gently push in. Sometimes it is a little bit tricky. Okay, and then you'll feel a little click. That click indicates that your stem has mated with your movement. So now we can test the movement out by pulling on the movement. And when you pull on the movement wheel should stop, indicating the watch has been turned off, which is awesome. That means your stem works good. And then pulling it and then pushing it in will turn back on. So that's perfect. So that means your stem works. Now it's off. So you're going to keep it in the off position, and we're going to install the minute, hour, and second hand. So what you come to realize, the hour and minute hand, they're pretty easy to install. They're very easy to install. Doesn't take too long to install, but it's the second hand. Most people who start off watchmaking either give up putting the second hand on or have a hard time making sure the second hand stays on the movement. I've come to realize it is very difficult to put the second hand on. Very, very difficult to put the second hand on. But when you do, it won't fall off, trust me. But if it does, you have installed it incorrectly. Also, what I've learned is if you install the second hand and you believe that it's on, I recommend that you start turning the crown. And if the minute hand and or hour hand moves with the second hand, that means second hand was just jammed in the hour hand or minute hand spot, so it will just rotate with each other. That indicates that you've installed it incorrectly. I've learned that the hard way. I installed mine before and I tried it on, I wore it for a day, and the second hand fell off, and or the second hand started moving with the minute or hour hand. It's a big issue, but trust me, when you install this, I'll let you guys know when it will work, and I'll show you guys how long it takes for the second hand. It will take some time to do. The first time I put the second hand on, it took me probably 3 hours, which is ridiculous. I'm not sure if that's normal or not for a first-time watchmaker, but I did actually install the second hand perfect after 3 hours. Okay, now we're going to install the hour hand. The hour hand goes first. So what we're going to need is our set of tweezers. This is gonna be difficult for me because I have so much going on here on my desk. It's kind of ridiculous. Usually you wouldn't have a microphone, a phone above you with a ring light with a magnifying glass, a DSLR camera looking at you, a DSLR camera looking at you right here. There's just a lot going on, a lot in my way. So I'm going to try to install this the best I can. And unfortunately, it probably won't be in the center of this view right here because I'm just trying to move my magnifying glass to where I can see it so I can actually install this and show this to you guys. We're going to use our tweezers. And we're going to pick up the hour hand. It is difficult to do this on a plastic container. We're going to pick up our hour hand. Pick up our hour hand and then just place it on our pad here. I like to just twist the movement the other way just so I can install this straight. So I'm going to pick up the hour hand. And just place this right in the center of your movement. It is tricky. The tolerances on this pin in the center of the movement is very small. So once you place it on the movement, you're going to get your little punch right here. This is just a stick essentially with holes in either end that are smaller and or bigger. So I am new at this, so I'm not sure exactly which side is right, but I'm going to use the big side here. So I'm going to use the black side. And you're going to want to push this straight on to the watch movement. So you might not be able to see it because I need to go directly straight onto it. You just want to lightly push down the center of it, very lightly. Sorry, I think I got the wrong size of punch. I don't even know what's called that. It's called a punch. But just find the right size for it. Make sure it's straight on. And also you want to make sure it is lined up with the 12 o'clock. Perfect. Okay, so now the hour hand is on. So now you're going to get the minute hand. And we're going to place it on our pad here. And now we're just going to, again, place the hand directly on top. Perfect. And then we're going to get our punch again and line it up directly center and push down very lightly. So now that they're straight with the movement and flush, so they're not interfering with the movement, we are set to go for the second hand. So the second hand, I told you, it will be tricky. Sorry for my rough idea of placing things on my pad. Usually I have everything in a separate box, but right now I do not have a separate box with me. Now it's the second hand. So this is the tricky part. You will see me have multiple tries at installing the second hand. It is difficult to do it. I'm not sure if it's difficult for everyone, but for me, it is rather difficult to install this because the tolerances are so tight. Unlike the hour and minute hand, where it's just a loop or hole that's in the center of the actual hands, this one is a pin that goes into a smaller pin in the center of the movement, which I didn't know until I started watchmaking. It's difficult. There is a center, which you couldn't believe there's a center hole in the center pin of the movement itself that I have to install the second hand into. A lot of the times when you install this, you will probably install it into one of the actual holes of the minute or hour hand. And if you force it enough, it might break the pin of the center hole, of the movement, and you won't be able to install the second hand, or you'll break the pin on the second hand, so you won't be able to install it on the movement. I'm sorry if I am being a little bit too complicated or not knowing what I'm doing. I'm just showing you how I do it. So this is going to be tricky because I have so much stuff around me right now. But you just get second hand here. You try to find a good, comfortable position for yourself to install it. You will drop the second hand multiple times while installing it. I like to dual wield the punch with my tweezers so I can place it gently in the center. So this is what I mean. This will be tricky to do. And just like that, the second hand is on. This is my first try doing it. Let's see if it works. So you want to start the movement up, pushing in, and the second hand is not working. So that means I installed it in the wrong hole. So you're going to want to stop the movement and change out the second hand. We just installed the second hand. Sorry I had to do that off camera. It did take me a couple more tries to do, but I eventually got the second hand working and installed. So as you can see here, I'm going to push down on the crown. Alright guys, that was part 2 of our 3-part series for our watch builds. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, and definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me some feedback down below in the comment section. I really do appreciate it. And part 3 is coming next Friday. Stay tuned guys. Thank you.